Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Vobes One-Eyed Kenobi Showbie with me, Richard Vobes, on the 19th of November 2021, live from a terrace house in Worthing in West Sussex, beamed to you wherever you happen to be at 8 o'clock in the evening here in the UK. Or it might be a different time in another part of the world. Who knows? The time continuum difference is always confusing, and I'm always confused. After all, it's supposedly Black Friday week. I thought Black Friday was a day, not a week. But it seems that one day is not enough for sales. You've got to get them out and sail that ocean with a whole week, apparently. What good that does, I don't know, for retailers who are slashing their prices desperate. But if it means that we don't see those crowded scenes inside the shops in which people come barging through by their millions and then argue about the last toilet roll, or perhaps the hand sanitizer, or is it still colour televisions that people want to buy? Or they've bought something, they've no idea what it is or what it does, but it was a bargain. What is the best bargain that you've ever bought? Be interested to know. 0793 4746 790. Give me a call tonight and tell me the best bargain that you've ever had. Or, of course, you can text it into the chat in the show. Look forward to hearing from you. It's a solo night tonight. No lovely Julia, so I'm back to me and you. So I need you to help me out. So don't forget the telephone number there, 0793 4746 790, and we can get the show going. Don't forget, Mark Burgess says there's a Cyber Monday as well. Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Teutonic Tuesday, Wild Wednesday, Thrifty Thursday. That's my day. I like Thrifty Thursday. And, of course, Black Friday, Secret Saturday, and Saucy Sunday. They're all the days as we head towards retail Christmas. Whoa, yes, there we are. Who's got their Christmas decorations up? Not even December. Who's got their tree up? I would be curious to find out if it's you. 0793 4746 790 is the number. What's the biggest bargain you've bought ever? Can you remember? Did you find it really useful? Are you somebody who cannot walk down the aisle and see things and go, oh, I must have that. Oh, I must have that. Or are you like me and go, can I survive without it? Oh, yes, of course I can. I won't buy it. I'm afraid I am one of those. Are you one of those? Where do you stand? Are you somebody who just has to get rid of the money as soon as it comes in? Or do you keep the money and go, well, I don't know, it might rain tomorrow, I might need to buy an umbrella. What's your situation? Give us a call on 0793 4746 790. Also on the show, we have Ernie has got an interesting photograph and a story to tell. Dale is hand feeding a robin, a nice Christmassy theme there, and Bonnie as a saxophone, and she reckons she's getting on well with it. What do you think? We will be putting a Christmas cheer on your face with tonight's show with a little bit of music care of Bonnie. So that's some of the videos and bits and bobs that we've got for you. And also, I've got some talking point questions to put to you. Let's see who's out there and what are you talking about. Daniel Watkins is out there saying good evening to everybody. Good evening to you, Daniel Watkins. John B says, where is Richard's Morris Traveller sign is what I want to know. The Morris Traveller sign is just here. Look, here it is. Ding. Thank you very much. It's there. It's definitely there. And Saucy Sunday, but only after church. Absolutely. When you've seen The Vicar's Daughter, you will know what you oughter. not do. David Vad says Fabergé eggs don't scramble well. Never tried one, have to say. Michael White says I walked down the aisle and the most expensive thing I got was a wife. Well, presumably that was a predetermined item, not a bargain off the shelf, or maybe she was on the shelf, who knows. Ron Langley is saying good evening, and Mark Burgess says I'm not trying to impulse buy, but depends on the type of shop I'm in. Yes, I suppose if you're in the HM Taxes shop, you're not tending to get, oh, I must buy some more taxes. Goodness gracious, I haven't bought any taxes for ages. I must buy some. Yes, here we go. Throw the money around. Station Master's Choice is out there. Hello, Bernie. Hopefully a parcel is winging its way down to you. He says, well, I must be late. Huge amount of folk here before me. Yes, I'm afraid so. Had to go and get some urgent medication for Oscar. Oh, no, as I couldn't let them have a long bus journey for what is 6 minutes by car. Well done, Bernie. That's good to see you looking after little Oscar. And John B says, wives don't come cheap. Yeah, I've no longer got a wife, so I know all about that. Jeff and Mandy says, at the Vobes show, hey, hello all, we're putting ours up this week. Presumably you're talking about the Christmas decorations then, not your wife. I'm putting my wife up for sale. In the old days, you could actually sell your wife. It wasn't technically legal, but people did a bit of wife selling. I've got a book about it, funnily enough. Yeah, you could lead the woman, your wife, around, if you were a bloke, of course, you would lead her around the market with a halter and a lead, and that would be a signal that you are selling your wife, that you are showing the community that you no longer want it, and the transaction would happen, and indeed did happen quite more frequently, if that's not English, than you might think. Colonel Cragratty says, I don't know whether any wives got rid of their husbands that way. That would be an interesting thing. That would be a moot point, or is it mute point, as somebody pointed out to me. Colonel says, I did get tempted to buy stuff I may need from the middle aisle of Lidl, or the same thing from Aldi, especially anything mechanical and tools. I don't suppose you have much problem navigating the top shelves, do you? I'm sure that you go in with your ice pick and gloves and just clamber right up and go, oh, look what's up here. And you probably get all the bargains on the top shelf that anybody else doesn't have. It probably started when you were a young man just getting into your teens, when the top shelf was, woohoo, you were the one that bought the magazines to school. Look what I've got from the top shelf. Woo, share it round, share it round. Maybe, maybe not. Michael White says the mayor of Casterbridge. Yes, he who has 2 sugars in his tea, cast a sugar. Cast of thousands, in actual fact. Each grain is well worth watching. Station Master's Choice says, first day of diabetic diet today. Uh-oh, that doesn't sound so good. I've eaten more lettuce than I have last year. Right, okay. How much lettuce did you eat last year? I absolutely forced the food down, but not always the stuff that I really like. Well, I guess that's what you have to do, is it? Do you just smother it in salad cream? That's what I want to know. Do you smother it in salad cream? We want to know, what is the best bargain that you've ever bought? What is the thing that you would go, my goodness, that was a bargain? Have you bought a bargain recently? Have you got an eye on a bargain? Are you somebody who patrols around eBay looking for bargains? When eBay first started, I believe that you could buy things, random things, and people were buying random things, like a bucket of water. Because it was so novel, people bought this stuff. Now, I don't think that's quite the case. Sean O'Brien says, I like dot. I'm not quite sure what you mean by dot. And Terry Banton says, I had trouble finding a discount at Poundland today. I bet you did. And didn't you not see the 99 discount? Only 99p to you, sir. A penny off. A penny off. Yes, and that's just for your thoughts. John B says you expend more calories, apparently, eating lettuce than you do from it. Is that the same with celery? Market T says, I once got a ticket from Peterborough to London for a £5. That does sound good. Peterborough to London. How many miles is that? That sounds like about 175 miles. Is it? Something like that? Bonnie says, I once bought a horse for 70 quid. Ooh, was it an old nag? What is the average price of a horse? I don't know what that is. How do you compare horse prices? And how can you tell if the horse is any good? Apparently, they've got to have hands that do dishes like somebody's wishes. Mile Green. Hello, welcome to the show.
Well, I thought the show was going well, so I called you.
Oh, excellent. So it's all going downhill. Alan Sandell, lovely to have you.
Yes, nice to talk to you. I'd hardly talk to anybody all day. That's the main reason why I call you.
Well, it's nice to be a service, a bit like the Samaritans, where the Samaritans just listen and you just gas away. So go on, use up your vocal energy.
No, because all my relatives are texters. Do you have texters as friends and relatives?
No, I don't. I avoid those.
They never actually talk.
The one thing I like with the thing like WhatsApp is that you can actually, chat with the microphone thing. So I tend to reply to people if they text me. I tend to give them a voice message, and that sort of surprises them. I don't know why.
Yeah, I do. I do chat to a lovely British lady who's still in America about once a month, and for an hour we solve all of the world's problems, but somehow it never gets implemented.
No. Well, I think the problem is you're just keeping it between yourselves. You need to tell governments of the world.
Yes, well, I did enjoy your podcast today, as I always do.
Yes, thank you very much. It's very kind of you. Not many people do, but you're classed in the enthusiastic listener bin.
Well, absolutely, yes. I won't tell you when I listen to it, because it can be quite late in the day. But
yeah, when you're asleep, that's the best time to listen to it. Sends you right off. Here he goes.
Yes, he's off again.
He's off again. Another rant. Oh, I don't know. I hadn't had a rant for a while, so I thought it was time to sort of get something off my chest.
Yeah, that's a very perplexing business, that global warming.
Isn't it a perplexing business? How can you tell?
Perplexing.
How can you tell? There's so many people telling you it is, but it's the same as going to a film where everyone's told you, oh, it's a brilliant film.
Oh,
hello?
Hello, yes. No, you went dead.
Yes, I'm sorry about it.
I'm glad you're still alive. The heart missed a beat.
Oh, I beg your pardon.
No, I'm intrigued at the moment. I was reading the headlines today, and apparently in the southeast of England, we're going to be frozen to death next week.
Are we really?
By a plunge of icy weather coming down from the Arctic.
Is this like the beast from the east, but this time the beast from the north?
But how long have I been reading that the Arctic is now warmer than the Sahara Desert?
Yeah, I mean, all the polar bears have got pina coladas and Ray-Ban glasses on. They've all got their feet up, not on an iceberg, of course. They're all on rafts, apparently, enjoying the sun. With their inflatables. They're on lilos, for goodness sake.
The next cold blast should be coming from south, not north.
Oh, is it coming from the south? Well, it should be.
Well, it should do.
Yeah, it should be.
According to what we're being told. Do you know, you're too old. No, you're not old enough for this. But I remember when I was a science geek in my teenage years, reading an article in the Scientific American about how we were on the door. We were at the door of the next ice age.
Yeah, well, I do remember. I mean, I do remember hearing. That? Yeah, I do remember hearing that we were in about when I was a kid. Hearing that, it's all going to go pear-shaped because there's an ice age coming.
Yes.
And I think that's a stronger argument for people to be worried. Nobody wants to be cold than the nonsense about we're all warming up. Because everyone, whenever you get a cold day, you go, well, I don't care. Warm up, that would be nice. Warm up, we can have some tropical... Wouldn't it be lovely for every garden to be able to grow oranges and lemons?
Oh, thank you, yes. I'd love to be able to grow veg.
Yeah, that would be nice, so I think they've cocked up with this business about the warming stuff. I don't think that's a strong enough thing. I think that they were onto something when everyone was going to be cold, because at least then the government could they would tax people's... Well, they're going to do that anyway by making people have heat bumps. Heat bumps? Heat pumps, I think.
They would tax your logs, my friend.
Yes, they would.
Your logs. Well, they'll put up those coal tax posts again, only for wood. They'll put one outside your door. So you have to pay tax.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what's going to happen. Paul Cockerell says the Ice Age happens every 10,000 years.
That's the getting very scientific on you now. So that is the periods of maximum glaciation, not ice ages. Ice ages go on for millions of years.
Ah, yes. So yes, that's the period of, what did you call it?
We are still in an ice age.
Yes, aren't we on the tail end?
We are.
We're still in one. We're coming out of it.
We're still in one. Actually, it hasn't been going for long. We might be precipitating its demise. But I'm rest assured there is a hill near where I live where when all of the glaciers on Greenland have melted, there will be 50 feet of land still available to inhabit.
Yeah. Well, I've done
the calculation.
You've done the calculation, have you?
The only problem is I'll be having to live on bloody seaweed.
Ah, well, apparently it's quite nice, isn't it? But you don't need any salt. I think it comes ready salted. Ready salted tea. I think that Smith's Crisps are going to do some of that, as well as the other mob, Walkers.
Do they still exist? Can you still get crisps with the little blue bag lid?
The shake and vac stuff. I think you can still get shake and vac crisps or whatever they were called. I think that's still a thing. Nigel Sandler says we should be planning on where everyone north of the latitude equal to that of the Mediterranean. Oh, wait a minute, hang on, I've missed out some words there. We should be planning on where everyone north of a latitude equal to that of the Mediterranean. Should we, I think he means. And are we going to leave our cities to be scraped off the landscape by the glaciers? I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. I don't think any of this is going to happen anytime soon.
No. It actually, isn't it, quite seriously, it is generating a new wave of mental disorder with people being put into such panic.
Well, everything. We're catastrophizing everything at the moment, aren't we? I mean,
did you invent that word, by the way? You used that a couple of times on your podcast.
Yes, I know. I've heard it. I haven't heard it. Have you not heard it? Okay. You must get out more. Oh yeah, no. Catastrophize. It's such a lovely word, isn't it? It's a lovely word. Catastrophizing. Everything is a catastrophe. Everything we're in the. But the trouble, I mean, this is what I said in my podcast this morning, is that when you get into your sort of 50s and above, you have lived a bit. And you remember things from your childhood days when people said, oh, the world is going to come to an end because we're going to warm up and you've only got 10 years. And then 10 years passed and then they go, well, we're all going to die in 10 years' time. You go, wait a minute, you said that before. And it just keeps, it's like a record. And the trouble is these people are so impatient, they're desperate for their money and all of this. You've got to just follow the money, haven't you? And then people like me go, wait a minute, I've heard this before and still nothing happens.
Well, we were a minute from doom, according to Boris.
Oh, yeah.
That was days ago.
And the weird thing about that is COP26, we're a minute from the end. And they go, but never mind, 365 days' time in Egypt, we'll have COP27. Well, wait, we're not going to be there, are we? After this hour, I think he said an hour, didn't he? Or was it a minute or whatever?
No, a minute.
Was it a minute? Yeah, so it's like, you know, the language is absolutely, totally ridiculous.
But it is literally turning people mad, like those people who glue themselves to the motorway.
Yes.
And one of those guys got an extra, 50% sentence because he effectively shoved his middle finger up to the judge.
Yeah, and quite right, too. Quite right for the judge to say, right, well, we'll have you as well then. The ninth one. If you don't put me in jail, I'll still... And apparently, I was just reading, actually, that they're still, Insulate Britain, still going to go and do it. And I think, and hopefully they will all end up... I mean, it may, hopefully, put some of them off doing this when they actually see their mates in jail and go, wait a minute, this is actually... They are doing what they're saying. In our little booklet that was being written... they said they'd only threaten us and they never would do it. But hopefully they will do it. Kerry Baldwin says the real danger to the habitat and biodiversity, which if I could say it, biodiversity, from man's overuse of land and resources, not climate. Exactly. Pollution and land use is the thing, especially here in England, is our biggest headache. Not that, it's like, they've just got the wrong things that they've told people about.
The biggest headache to me in England is that, and I think I've spoken to you before and even posted something to you on email about our sewage system. And it was Southern Water, which affects you and people in Kent, and I think some in Hampshire, where they pleaded guilty to 21 offences of dumping raw sewage in rivers and seas, and asked for another 8,400 unreported cases to be taken into consideration.
Well, I think the fine is less than actually doing something about it and getting rid of the they'd rather pay the fine. And
the fine will be paid by their customers.
Well, I think we'll all pay
bankrupt.
Yeah.
Yes,
we'll all pay it. Because we have to have water. Because they would say, well, what are you going to do? Do you want the water or not? No.
I understand why you don't like fish. I do understand now why you don't like fish living on the south coast, because they recently dumped raw sewage 57 times in 24 hours.
57 times? How many tons of the raw sewage did they get shot of?
God almighty, we wouldn't even know about this unless it was a group of people called Surfers Against Sewage, who actually go out there and test the seawater.
Yeah. A lot of surfers would enjoy that, though, wouldn't they? They're going out there, da-da-da-dun-dun-dun, da-da-da-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, 57 tons of sewage! My God, I'm literally floating on floaters.
Yes, I once wondered why I was the only person swimming off the coast of south of France, until I later flew above it on a plane and saw the discharge.
Saw the sewage.
My God, did that make me sick for days?
No, they were just looking and watching silly Englishmen. Look at him swimming amongst the turds.
Stupid bugger. Yes.
Which is the turd?
I think it was.
Which is the turd? He's so absurd. Which is the turd? It's an outrage. Let's just have a look here. Trev's Travels says they also want us to be vegetarian or vegan. They don't they know crops take up more space than livestock? Where is this all going to come from to grow? Where's the land going to come from to grow crop? Well, this is the problem. They won't have any land because they've been building on it. And
because we'll plant trees all over it because we need the trees. We need more trees than the planet can accommodate.
Yes, we need probably output trees on all the asteroids and rocks.
On the moon.
Yeah,
yes, on the
that's
moon.
it. We'll use the moon as a tree farm. That would be the thing. That would probably be, Boris's big native brainwave. Oh, we need more trees. We'll just grow them on the moon. Yes, thanks, Boris. Thanks very much. Come back in 3 years when you have another brainwave. It's a mad world, isn't it? It is a mad world. Have you bought a bargain recently?
Oh, no, I always buy the cheapest thing on Amazon, and then it breaks one day out of warranty.
Yeah, everything does now. Nothing lasts forever, does it? I mean, I have got a Zenith camera, Russian thing. That works. Because it's made of metal, and it was bought in the 70s, and it was still one of those things that work. But anything bought these days has just got the obsolescence built in, because even if it still works, it's not fashionable to have it. You've got to have the latest one. 4K, 8K, 652,000 million K. Oh, you need to upgrade your computer to run anything. It's barking, but we've all been manipulated, hypnotized, mesmerized that we must have the latest this. Although
it'll make your life better. It will
make you happy.
It will secure your happiness.
Yeah.
To have this item.
And you see these people who've got everything working away like blooming beavers. And you think, they don't look very happy. They've got all this stuff. They've got those wonderful, big, expensive cars that they're paying for month after month, that they drive to the office at 8 in the morning and leave the office at 8 at night. And that's the only time they get to drive those big, expensive cars in packed roads going at 2-3 miles an hour. You think, that's got to be worth it.
The rush hour around here in Surrey is when the kindergarten and primary schools get out.
Oh, right. So
and that's when you see the Porsche Targa 911
Is it all the
Volvos,
is it Telsys? What are the
BMWs.
Telstar? Is it what are the Teflons? What are those that fancy
Oh,
electric?
oh yeah, the
Tef-
Teflon cars. The Teflon cars.
The Teflon
you got
cars.
it. Yeah.
Where
And they creep up on you when you're walking
Yeah.
out on the roads. Those buggers don't half creep up on you silently. Oh, got to watch out for them.
I am surprised that the latest James Bond didn't have an electric car featured in it. You'd think that would be a spy car like no other car.
Yeah, well, I think it was made a few years ago, and then COVID stopped it being released.
Yeah, we have been talking about electric cars for some time, but maybe the next one will be an electric car and an electric chopper and an electric rally.
Electric chopper? What do you...
Electric chopper, you remember the old chopper bikes?
Electric chopper.
I know people who've got.
bicycle.
They come out with an electric chopper to cut the turkey with, don't they?
Chopper was a Raleigh bicycle.
Exactly. That was the joke. I did say. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Linda Kane says, surely everyone has heard the carrots screaming as they're pulled up. I seem to remember some comedy program doing something about it. Yeah, wasn't Monty Python doing something about that? Not the 9 o'clock news.
That was Prince Charles.
Oh, was it Prince Charles pulling up the carrots?
Yeah, he can. Yeah, he speaks to the vegetables.
Yes.
He can hear them.
Well, apparently...
He also said...
Yeah.
He also said that by the year 2000, there will be no ice left on the planet.
No ice? By the year, what, 2000?
Yes, 2000.
Well, I think even Morrison's sell ice, to be honest with you, if you go and look in their freezer department. So he obviously doesn't go to supermarkets. He's too posh for that. But apparently, here's the thing. I heard that the people who talk to their plants... And the reason the plants actually grow, when people talk to them, they whisper to their plants on a regular basis, and they grow better than the plants that aren't talked to. Nothing to do with the actual talking bit. It's because as they talk to them, they're expelling carbon dioxide. And
What's
it's the stuff you exhale. And that's what plants need. And because you're talking to them, you're exhaling a little bit more carbon than the plant next down the road. And so these are going, oh, yeah, oh, blimey. It's like a little bit of cocaine shoved up its nostrils.
It's like the fish are now gathering around the sewage outfalls.
Do they like the turds then, the fish?
Yeah, but they like the crystal meth. And seriously,
do they?
No, I'm not joking. There's all that, and what it's not called COVID. What is it called? Covine, co something. Yeah,
Co-op.
They like the drugs.
Do that? What do you mean? What, the drugs that people have had and expel down the tubes?
Yeah, yes, the fish like it.
And the fish like it, yeah, and they're getting very high on it, especially the flying fish.
Yeah. Which is why you're okay. You don't like fish.
No, I won't touch it.
But the rest of us, when we go for a bag of fish and chips, we can have an order of methyl, whatever it is.
Methylated spirit. The thing about fish is, of course, it's brain food. I don't want any brain food. I mean, my brains are already get me into enough trouble with people. They go, oh, God, Richard, you're thinking too much. I don't want any more brain food. It's a nightmare. Listen, Alan, it's been lovely to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Sir.
Do you feel like you can shut up for another 24 hours and just text people again? Or
I've had a week of dementia.
Oh dear.
Seriously, my first week of dementia.
Oh, why? Explain.
Which would account for a lot of things I say.
Yes.
No, I lost my meds.
You lost your
meds, my medication.
Oh, you lost your medication? What is medification? For God's sake? You lost your meds. Oh gosh. And sent you doolally, did it?
This is the worst thing. I actually showed some compassion to a stranger.
Oh, my God. You've come back from America and now you're showing compassion to a stranger.
I don't do that.
Good day there, partner. Howdy. Hey, have a nice day.
Yeah. Did you say, have a nice day?
No, my father started getting friendly.
Uh-oh.
When he got dementia.
Did he? Yeah.
You know what that's like.
Yeah, my dad... my dad wasn't so much getting friendly. But he did want to go out at very strange hours, and he was convinced that nighttime was daytime. It was a bit weird. Anyway, I won't get into that. Nice to talk to you, Alan. Look after yourself.
And you, sir.
Call
And
again
you, sir.
soon.
Cheers.
Take care.
Cheers.
Bye.
Lovely. Bye.
Bye. Oh, there we are. That is the ever popular Alan Sandell there, giving us a chat. Yes, there we go. Bargains. It was a bargain call. I didn't have to pay for it. So lots of other things to talk about in tonight's show. Give you the talking points, and then we're going to have a look at a photograph that Ernie has sent in, and I'm just going to run downstairs because I can smell burning. But we'll get back to that into a minute. It's the trouble when you have a log fire or a wood-burning stove, you're always being surrounded by the smell of burning. But it's a very familiar smell, wood burning, because I only burn wood. And then you get the slightest, that's not wood burning smell. That's something else. But there's always that worry that something's dropped out of the fire, and maybe it's the carpet or the curtains or something else is going up. And when you're here on your own, with no way out, it's a bit of a nervous situation. Anyway, never mind all that. Austria, they've just gone to mandatory vaccination. What do you think about that? Very interesting debacle. But is it going to happen here? Mandatory vaccination. Even if you've been vaccinated, do you agree that it is right and proper that everybody is vaccinated mandatorily without any whatsoever will and decision? And if so, why? And do you not fear it could then start being the tip of the iceberg? Have you ever won any money? And if so, has it changed you? What did you do with it? Did you spend it all at once, or did you shove it in the bank? The reason I ask that is I've just been watching a film. I think it was called Home and Away with Jack Warner from 1950-something or other. A very funny film in some ways, in which they win the football pools and they're all it's chopping and changing their lives. And it's a very old film. It's not anything to do, by the way, with an Australian soap. I don't know why it's called Home and Away, because it had nothing to do with leaving home, but it was all about home life. But would it change you if you won lots of money? And what would you do with it? Another couple of interesting points here is, have you ever lost anything? I mean, completely lost it and never found it? Or has it turned up in an unusual place? Interesting to think about that. And finally, and you might have your own talking points for the rest of the show, Insulate Britain have got principles. I mean, they are going to prison for what they are doing. What would you do? What would make you have principles and go to prison for? Have you got principles? Or if it was that and going to prison as a result of it, would you do it? Be interested to know. So we're going to have a quick look now in the email box, if I can find the cursor to my mouse. And Ernie sent me this picture here. I'm going to show it to you in a moment. No, not that one. Hang on. It's there's many pictures in this. Oh, these go right back. Hey, Ernie, our email chain goes back years. Anyway, I found it now. Here we go. Here's a lovely picture. Look at this. This is Ernie looking very dapper, I have to say, in his 1940s suit there, I have to say. And a gentleman next to him in a hat with, as you can see, a lot of medals. And I'm going to get out of my email account there just so I can read you. He says, see attached at our local church in the village where we had our lunch, called the Trooper Inn. Now, I went to the Trooper Inn just down the road from where he lives. He says this is a photo taken on Remembrance Sunday held by Angela the Vicar, who lives opposite here, with Brigadier D. Keenan. Being in a church, was asked to take his hat off, apparently. He says, I'm having my photo taken. He was in the parachute regiment for 45 years. Take a note of our clothes. Very English, don't you think? I wore a wartime CC-41 tween suit. I don't know what a tween... Do you mean tweed? Or is that tween? Is that a thing? With wartime shirt and tie and shoes. And he, need I say more, he looked very well. This is Brigadier D. Keenan. Let's have another look at the picture. There he is, looking very smart. And I have to say, those old 1940s suits, they look absolutely fantastic, don't they? Don't they look brilliant? I love them. Well done. Thank you so much, Ernie. Really enjoyed that. If you want to send in a picture of yourself in a period outfit, we'd love to see it. Linda Kane says go. I'm not quite sure what she means by go, but thank you very much, Linda. Nigel Sadler says, our spare set of car keys disappeared in the spring. They turned up today in my wife's other handbag, which had not been used since. Oh, something a little bit weird going on there. And Val Pragnell says, go and investigate that burning smell to be... Oh, yes, sorry. I better go and just check that out. And Trev's Travels by Narrowboat says, £10,000 on the pools he won back in the day. Stupidly, I spent it on a wedding. Oh, golly. Lots of those questions we'll be following up. But first, ladies and gentlemen... we've got two delightful videos for you. Now, you may remember that Bonnie is a saxophonist. She plays her saxophone at the best opportunities that she can get, and she's been practicing hard. Now, a few months ago, possibly even a year ago, I can't quite remember, when she first sent in a video of her playing quite haltingly, I hope she doesn't mind me saying so, where she was at the very beginning of learning how to play it. She's now, she says, I think I'm improving. And I think you have. So, with a bit of Christmas cheer, nice and early in the show, getting ready for Christmas, this is Bonnie with a Christmas tune. You just caught me coming back there. It was a bit shorter than I thought. There we go, the lovely Bonnie playing marvellously on her saxophone. Give her a big round of applause. And she probably needs a nice round of drinks as well. Well done, Bonnie. That was lovely to see. Thank you so much. Don't forget you can give us a call on 0793 474 6790, and you can play your saxophone down the telephone at me if you so wish. I just, as you saw, rushed downstairs just to check to see if there was any burning, and luckily we're all right. Phew! Thank goodness for that, eh? Otherwise, I would have to leave the show. But the phone is ringing. Let's find out who that is on the Vobes phone line. Hello, welcome to the show.
Hello, it's me again, coming for a third bite, Terry from Southwater.
Hello, Terry from Southwater. How the devil are you?
Yes, I got a bite. Well, I spent a little while with a friend. I went down to Worthing yesterday, and he insisted on going in every charity shop that we came across down Montague Street and other places.
There's a lot of them.
I got a bit tired of it, you know.
Oh, did you? It's funny you should say it, because I was in charity shops today with the lovely Julia. I think actually she was trying to get rid of me there, but it didn't work. They refused to have me. So what were you looking for? Anything in particular, or just having a nose?
Well, that's I was sort of dragged in there with my friend because he's very much into getting bargains in clothing lines.
Right, yeah.
I think he bought a T-shirt with.
Wait a minute. Wait. Hang on a minute. Can you get clothing lines at a bargain price? Because I always need a new clothing line, especially in the summer. You know, hang them up in the garden because they do wear out after a while.
Yeah, clotheslines, yeah. No, I don't think they sell clotheslines, but lines of clothes. I mean, you know, racks of clothes.
Racks and racks of clothes. I always get my shirts. The shirt I'm wearing here at the moment, that is a bargain basement, £4. You can't, I mean, £4 for a shirt. I think it's a great price.
Yes. Well, he bought a white T-shirt with a logo on the front, U2. You've heard that group, U2?
U2. Yeah, they were in the 80s, weren't they?
Something like that.
Something like that. I mean, I couldn't tell you. You see, I'm rubbish with music. I could not name a song by U2. I wouldn't know if it was by U2 or Black Sabbath. Would not know the difference.
But interestingly, it had not only U2, it had U2 October. So I couldn't quite work that one out unless it was at one of their tours in October.
No, don't ask me. U2 Octa. Yeah, no. Did he buy anything else?
Yeah, I bought a pack of 3 pairs of socks.
3 pairs of socks. For how much?
$3.99. So I don't suppose that wasn't really a bargain, was it? But they were new. They weren't used. Thank goodness.
I know that the supermarket near me does these JCB socks. I mean, it's JC. I don't know whether it means JCB as in the building company. And does anybody know what the JCB actually means for these earth-moving apparatus? But anyway, they do the socks over there, and they're about $6.99. So you've got them for half price for 3 pairs.
Yeah, JCB. It's the diggers. It's JC Bamford who actually manufacture the diggers.
Oh, is it? Is that his initials then? Something like John Colin Bamford or Josie Cindy Bamford or whatever it might be. Black Sabbath, are they a gospel band? Says Call for Joy. I think they could be. They're Black Sabbath. It sounds like one of them happy clappers bands. Oh, the Lord is having a party. I'm gonna bring some whiskey. Me and the Lord are happy when we're merry as can be. Oh, that's a David Vad song, by the way, available from KTEL.
Yes, you read my comment about Poundland not being able to find a discount.
Yeah,
I think there used to be some 99p shops around. I haven't seen any recently.
They all got bought up, didn't they, by Poundland?
Yeah,
the whole shop was 9. Somebody just went and said, rather than buying an individual thing, whoa, steady. You may not have heard that. That was just Windows telling me to have an update. Yeah, I'll do that later. Pick a time. Pikachu. I think didn't they the £99 shops, 99 pence. I mean, they just run out of pennies in the end. Yeah. You imagine having to keep going to the bank saying, "Look, everyone gives us £1, and we have to give them a penny back."
Yeah, we get these pound stretchers, pound savers. I think they all get swallowed up by Poundland eventually.
Yeah, the pound stretcher, of course, is not a thing. I mean, if you get one of those coins and you try stretching it, you need a lot of strength, and probably quite brittle, I would imagine.
Yes. Anyway, I'll just say quickly, I did get a bargain today.
Oh, good.
I've got one of these smart TVs that was preloaded with a YouTube app. And off my tablet, because I like to see you on the 42-inch screen,
You must be desperate. I must see the Vobes, the doming head on a 42-inch, because that way you can probably see all the little follicles that are desperately trying to grow but don't have a chance. There's probably another planet in there. There's probably life, growing up there and doing things that I'm completely unaware of. But you would see it on your 42-inch screen.
Yeah, what I do, I cast from my tablet. That's what you know about casting couches from the past.
Yes, I've been on many of them with the lovely directoresses. Oh, hello, darling. Lie on the casting couch for us, would you? Lovely. I'll be back in 3 weeks. What?
Is that your impression of Barbara Windsor, is it?
I don't know who that was, to be honest with you. Linda Kane says there's very little now for £1. Almost everything is £1.50. Surely pound shops don't charge more than £1. They can't. Otherwise, presumably the pound shop must have thought or must have been aware there was a thing called inflation, which is why you can buy rubber dinghies for £1. Woolworth used to promise everything under 6pence. No wonder they went bust.
Yes, right. There's all those stale sweets they used to sell.
Yeah, I used to like the pick and mix. Lots of other people do the pick and mix, but it's not the same as Woolies.
Anyway, I was saying about my smart TV. It's about 5 years old now.
Is it?
Anyway, the YouTube app, preloaded app, dropped out yesterday, and I couldn't cast.
Oh.
I couldn't cast from my tablet or my phone onto the big screen.
So what did you do?
I went out to Argos today, and I got a Google Chromecast, something you push in the HDMI socket.
Right.
and I got it for £17.99 instead of the usual price of about £29 or £30.
Wow.
So it was Black Friday, as you said.
Black Friday. So there we are. So a wire from your phone to the TV wouldn't have been enough then?
No, I'm a bit lazy
No.
because I've got a Google Nest actually. It doesn't produce any birds, but
You've got a Google S.
A Google Nest. Like
Nest.
Alexa.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, you talk to this little round thing, and it tells you. You say, "What's the time?" Setting a reminder.
What's the time, Mr. Wolf? I mean,
Yeah,
casting your eye to the clock on the wall surely is quicker than going, Alexa, what is the time? The time, according to Accurist, is 4 minutes slow. Well, that's slander, isn't it? Sorry, Accurist, if you're watching, that was just an old joke because of the speaking clock. Tim.
Yes, I have got a wall clock, but it's battery driven. Occasionally, the batteries, double A's, I think they are inside.
Oh,
if they pack up, I can just say, "Hey Google," which is, I don't say Alexa, I say, "Hey Google." It's
hey Google.
Hey Google, what's the time?
Hey.
Hey Google.
Hey Google.
Hey Google, what is? Oh, it's just spoke to me because I said, "Hey Google."
Well, of course. Can you change it? Can you give it a name and say, "Hey Cynthia, how you doing, babe?"
No, I don't think you can do that. But I know that somebody told me in settings on Alexa, which is the competitor's product, you can actually change the name from Alexa to
computer,
Barbara or
can you?
Richard or Mr. Allen said.
Oi, Babs, darling. Order us a fish and chips from the ocean of turds. I'm hungry and thirsty at the same time.
Yes. Anyway,
I don't know that number.
Anyway, I got my Google Chromecast installed, and I'm now casting to the big screen and watching you. I've turned the sound off on the TV because you get feedback.
Yeah, well, probably best watching me with the sound off is the improvement to the show. To be fair, but anyway, go on.
Just quite quickly on another subject, you mentioned vaccinations being mandatory otherwise
in Austria.
The thing is, if you want to travel out of the country by air, say. You can't get on a plane without a PCR test result saying you're negative.
Even if you're double vaccinated or triple vaccinated.
Yeah. Big airlines, they're still asking you to produce have a PCR thing within a day or so before you go. It used to be 72 hours, but I don't know whether it's.
Gosh.
Yes.
I have to say, I mean, I have done a little bit of flying in the long distance past, but I really have no interest in flying around the world now or to different countries at the moment. I know a lot of people like doing that, but I'm really not interested at all. I've got a van, so I'm a happy man. Anyway, listen, Terry, brilliant to talk to you. Thank you so much for calling in.
Okay, then. Bye.
Look after yourself.
Cheers, and you. Bye.
There we are, Terry Banton, who manages to get a bargain down at Poundland occasionally. Lots of interesting comments have popped in there. Colonel Cragratty says that JCB was the first company to come up with the idea of a multi-tool equipment on a machine. You'd have thought it would have been the Swiss knife people, but hey, there you go. He started by modifying a Ford tractor, and adding a digger attachment, etc. Oh, there we go. Thanks very much. Jeff and Mandy says, we watch on the telly with the chat on the side. All right then, mate. And have a notebook open to be able to chat on the side. Oh, yeah. We always like to do so before we stop. Well, have a chat on the side. I like to talk. Broken biscuits in glass top tins, says Linda Kane, apropos of something which I have recently forgotten. Bonnie says a 42-inch Vobes is terrifying. Yes, I tell you what, even just looking in the mirror, real size is terrifying. And John B can't resist a Bourbon biscuit. Lots of other comments in there as well. I love acronyms, says Bonnie H. And John B says at 17 stone, I'm invisible to women. That's the best way to be. You'll save a lot of money. Trev's Travels by Narrowboat says, I stay hiding on my boat. Good for you. That's the best way. And Nigel Sadler has added that my wife has travelled to the Republic of Ireland today without any COVID certification of any kind. Ooh, they smuggled her in in a suitcase. So there, clearly Richard looks after himself, to be fair. I do my fairground rides, John B. I look after myself as much as I possibly can. So, lots of other bits and bobs to talk about. Have you ever lost anything? And then did you find it? What is that? Did you lost something and never found it for years and years and years, and then when it turned up, went, oh, that's where it is. I was thinking, I don't know what made me think about that, because I have lost many things over the years, but when you've lost it at that moment, it's the worst thing ever, isn't it? You go, well, I know I had it. I know it was in here. Where is it? And you go hunting around, and eventually you sort of let go of this object. And then when you find it, it's like, oh, there it is. There it is. Good God. But it's like, well, I've got round it now. I don't need it anymore. Or maybe you've lost something. Maybe you lost a friend. I don't mean to the great. You just lost a friend, and you think, well, I never talk to so and so. They never ring me anymore. Where are they? I don't know what happened to them. They left without a word. I know they're not deceased, or they haven't got brain problem or anything like that. Colonel Cragratty says we have a 60-inch, not to be outdone by a simple 42, minuscule thing that you need goggles to watch. Colonel's got a 60-inch TV, so Mr. Vobes would be very scary. I'm content watching him on my PC. Phew, that's all right, my PC. Joanna Jones says, I've never been on a plane. Well, it's safe. A lot of people are very frightened of flying. I'm not so frightened of flying. It's the falling I'm more frightened of. Alison O'Brien says, I've lost my marbles. I hope you find them somewhere. And Lord Jeffrey says that JCB stands for Joseph C. Bamford, the founder. I wonder what the founder of Eddie Stobart is called. You always see those lorries, but I never know what the original bloke was called. Audrey Forbes says, funny how when you lose something, you keep going back to the same place and looking again. Well, that's interesting you say that, because I do exactly the same. You go, hang on, I put it on this table, and you look at everything and you lift up. Do you do that thing where you start to look in the most inappropriate places, thinking, is it under the glass? No, it's not actually under the glass. I'm looking for a camera. It's not under the glass, which is actually see-through and all of that. You pick up the most improbable places and look, and then you go, I'll look again. Because I have had that, where I have looked for something, and it was there all along, but because I had it in my mind's eye what it looks like, when I saw it, I ignored it. Do you ever done that? Where is it? I know I've got it. It's a microphone on this desk somewhere. Where is it? It's a bit of an old joke, really, isn't it? But it does actually have some truth in it. Bonnie says, I'm always losing jewellery, especially when that stripy jumpered man comes through with the bag marked swag through the windows. Nigel says, I had the Vobes up on a 220-inch TV screen before now. Yes, I think we're in my telly is bigger than your telly territory here. Joanna Jones says, I'm always losing my temper. With the children, or the husband, or just with life, or people on the television, probably with me, watching me, and they go, oh, bloody hell, Vobes, not again, will you? Shut up about it. I know what you mean. Ron Langley says, I went on a plane to Jersey and back, and that was enough for me. Never been on another plane since. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Some people like it, some people don't like it. Was it Amy Einhart or whatever her name is? She went on a plane, didn't she? The Wright brothers, I blame them. Michael White says most people can't see what's in front of their nose. Well, most people can't actually even see their noses. Try looking for your nose. Can you see your nose? I can't see my nose. I may have been able to when I had two eyes. One might have been able to look lower than the other, but not anymore. Daily Walker says, when I lose something and I find it, it's always in the place I looked. Of course it is. Yes, that's right. It's always there. I find that whenever I had either a mother or a female partner, they would always go, you're just doing man looking. My ex-partner, Harriet, which I would say, I can't find such and such. And she, if I was overstaying at her place, and I say, well, where's the, she says, I've got some, I don't know, bar of chocolate. I say, oh, where is it? It's in the fridge. Oh, okay, I'll have a look in the fridge. Where is it then? I can't see it. She says, oh, you're just doing man looking. No, I'm looking in the... and then she would come and magically, bing, there it is, right in front of my face. How did that work? How did you do that? I did nothing. It was there all the time. You just didn't see it. Well, I've only got one eye, you see. That's my excuse for everything. Andy Dalgleish says, terrified of heights, but have to have the window seat when flying. Yeah, so that you can leap out that tiny little... not that you can actually open those. Imagine if you could open the window when you're flying. They always used to laugh at that idea. Station Master Choice says, my first flight was on a Vickers Viscount of BEA, Heathrow to Guernsey back in 1968.
1968, and here we are with the BEA flight, the first flight, and on the pilot tonight is good old Bernie, and he has, don't worry, he's got his zoom camera with him, and he can see where Guernsey is, even from through the curve of the earth. It is a piece of absolute magic that he is able to do it.
Good old Bernie. And John B is talking to Julia Hartley, who may have said something. Val Pragnall says, glad all was okay downstairs. Yes, thank you very much. Yes, I forgot to say everything was fine all downstairs. The flames have yet to lick the stairs, so I can still get down. Andy Dalgleish has already said. Call for Joy says, I lost my virginity years ago and I never found it again until I worked in the abattoir and that sheep walked in. Uh-oh, that sounds grim. Nigel Sandler says, my first flight was in Japan, was to Japan via Alaska. Was Alaska there then? Was it still? It's gone now, apparently. It's all melted. It was for work, and I was on my own. Oh, that must have been scary. No pilot, no hostess, nothing. Just sitting in there in a plane, bit like a Google car, really, I suppose. One of those automated cars. That's probably how it'll be in the future, like the Jetsons, sitting in a thing that flies itself, hoping that the batteries don't conk out. Lord Jeffrey says, love to fly in an air balloon. I've actually been up in an air balloon. I have actually flown in an air balloon, in a microlight, and in a paraglider. Is it a paraglider, the thing with a go-kart underneath and a parachute on the top? I've been in one of those with a little propeller on the back. And I've never been in a helicopter. I've been in an ordinary aeroplane. And of course on a trampoline in which you do a bit of flying. My father, says John B, was a flight engineer on Concorde, for what it's worth. He used to walk along the top of Concorde and one day got to the nose and it went ding. Ah, so it was John B's dad's fault that the nose went ding. Bit of a dent there. Nobody seems to have noticed, did they? David Vad says Jamaica? No. She went of her own accord. Bum, bum, tish. And Jana Jones, Jana Jones? Who's Jana Jones? I've never heard of her. Joanna Jones says, wow, John, that's amazing. So there we go. And Bonnie H says, hubby's dad flew mosquitoes. By golly, he must have been small. Smaller than an ant. Gosh, that would have been... Imagine getting on one of those. You never know where you're going to go. Don't tell me you went to malaria. So there we go. And Rachel says, droop snoop. Nice. I've got a droop snoop, don't you know? Don't worry, you can get some pills for that. And finally, Colonel Cragraddy says, my first ever flight was as a passenger in a two-man glider. Next time was a small 60-seater plane to Paris from Southampton. Only been on a big 500-seater plane once. Very scary. It's even more scary. I think the scariest thing about being on a plane is when everybody else around you is going, we're going to die. And those funny little plastic masks come dropping out of the sky and you go, what is the matter with everybody? And the plane is tilting down like that. When I was doing extra work many, many years ago, quick story made long, when I was doing extra work, there was a chap who was on The Bill, the TV series The Bill. He was one of the background plainclothes PCs. So whenever you saw the CID office, there might be a couple of other plainclothes CID people. We were all like the background of Sun Hill Police Station. We never had starring roles or anything, but we were there sort of on a regular basis. Anyway, one day we were talking about aeroplanes and aeroplane disasters and things like that. You know, what was your worst flight? Those sort of stories whilst we were waiting to be called to go on set and do something. And I remember him telling this story in which he was on his way, I think, to Japan or somewhere like that, somewhere in the Far East. And he said it was a dreadful experience because as they landed, just as they came into the land, the tail broke off just as they landed. Nobody was hurt, but it snapped visually, and there was a dirty great crack, and you could see outside, and the plane came to a skidding halt. Everybody was very shocked, of course, and many people wanted to go home immediately because they were just like, oh my God, what's happened? They were on holiday and things like that. And so there was a flight specially arranged for all these people to go back home. And so he was one of them that I think his family said, oh, we're too shocked. Amazingly, they got back on the next aeroplane and they were flying home, and he was sitting there amongst all these people. He was sitting by this chap who kept looking out at the wing through the window, and he said this bloke was really annoying because he kept looking at the window, looking incredibly nervous. And he said, every now and again he would call out to the hostess and say, oh, the wing is wobbling, it shouldn't be doing that, it shouldn't be doing that. And this chap from the Bill who was telling us this story says, it was very upsetting because we'd been in one plane, effectively a plane crash, where on the landing the tail fell off or cracked open. And he said, and there was this idiot next to us winding us up by being incredibly fearful looking at this plane. And he said it was just so off-putting. He said, however, it got worse when questioned if he was all right and whether he wanted to move to a different seat. Apparently, the chap turned around and he said, no, I'm watching the aeroplane. That wing shouldn't be doing that. I know. I part-designed it. Well, of course, that put the willies up this other guy like nobody's going, oh my God, we're on a plane in which the wings are going to fall off. Well, they didn't, obviously. He managed to get back, but he was like, oh, it shouldn't be doing that. No, that's not right. But it was probably only a minor thing, but it was enough to put the willies up this bloke. Anyway, let's go to another video. Lots of interesting things. Thanks very much for all your comments. We've got another video. Now, this is a very lovely little video. You remember Dale, the tunnel walker, the line inspector that we saw the other time when we were doing it? Now, thank you very much, by the way, Dale, for becoming a patron. It's very kind of you. He sent in a video. He is now a bit like Dr. Dolittle. He doesn't actually so much talk to the animals, but he can feed the animals more so than most people can, because he's hand feeding a wild robin, ladies and gentlemen. Watch this. Rather spectacular.
Not for you. Come on, Mr. Robin. Well, I never. That is beautiful. And I'm in profile, Richard. No, Homewood Common, at the viewpoint. Walking the dog. And I'm hand feeding a little robin. Right, how did you feel?
Isn't that lovely? Isn't that amazing? That is incredible. Hand feeding a little robin. And when it's smothered with Marmite, they taste even better. Thank you so much, Dale. That was so charming, that was. Wasn't that lovely? As Colonel Cragrack, he says, especially with the dog so near. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to know what you were feeding it with, though. That's the interesting. We couldn't really work out what it was. Call for Joy says a book called How to Make Money Quick by Robin Banks. Yeah, that's a very popular book with ex-cons, I imagine. Trails Travels says we went to Pertussu, whatever that is. And Tracy says, how adorable. Linda Kane says, my little mate, a robin, was feeding from my hand too today. But Dale managed to video it, Linda. Get out there with your film camera, and we want to see you in your whips and chains.
Come on, Robin. Come and feed from my hand. On my shoulder, Robin. Feed, feed.
Yes, that's the video I want to see, Linda. I can't wait. Anyway, thank you very much, Dale. That was absolutely lovely. We are coming up to 9 o'clock. Well, it's just after 9 o'clock, to be honest with you. I hope that you're going to have a fantastic weekend, whatever you're up to, wherever you're doing. 2 Years in the Saddle by Major Bumsaw. That's another book, says Dave Vivad, that you can buy. And John B says, I hope to have another year's myself. What? I hope to have another year's myself. Life is short. It is short. Station Master's Choice is saying bus drivers have over the years acquired the alternative name of Robin Swines, usually when the fares grow up. Yes, I see what you did there. That's very good. Let's find out who's calling in on the Vobes show. Hello, caller.
Bus drivers.
Beep. It's just phoned up. If you want to ring back before the end of the show, you'll be very welcome. The number is now on the screen, 07934746790. I'd love to talk to you. I've got headphones on, so we're ready to go. Michael White says, How to Become Trans by Andrew Nikobolikoff. We've got the Friday night puns coming in. And John B says, I have another 8 years myself. I hope to have another. Why 8? Why 8? That's a short time. Well done filming and feeding at the same time, says Bonnie. Linda's whips and chains, says John B. LOL. Brilliant. Okay, well, that kind of brings us to the end of another exciting week of Vobe shows. I hope you've enjoyed them. Thank you very much for taking part and joining me. Tomorrow, I am out with a YouTuber called Dan. I nearly called him Dale then. Sorry, Dale. Dan, a lovely chap called Dan. He takes me to an interesting place in East Sussex near Tunbridge Wells. Don't want to give too much away, but you'll enjoy it. He's a YouTuber. He's called Phoenix History, and we do a collaboration together. It's a lovely video, and it'll be out tomorrow morning from 7 a.m. So get up early and leave a comment. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up on this show. That would be absolutely fantastic. I very much appreciate it if you've enjoyed it. So look after yourselves. And then, of course, there'll be the Sunday chat on Sunday and nothing on Monday other than The Naked Englishman, of course, which is my podcast for those of you who want to hear me rant and rave about life, the universe and everything, and argue with myself in many different ways. And then on Tuesday, goodness knows what there'll be, but hopefully something. Anyway, have a wonderful weekend, whatever you're up to. Thank you for watching tonight's show. Enjoy yourself. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Thanks to Judith and Julia for doing the moderation. Thanks to the phone calls. Thanks to the videos. And thanks to you for typing and keeping the show going. Have a good weekend. Bye for now.